No, not those. Get some cotton or something and make a pair of sheets and some pillowcases to match.
Hey, yeah, and we could embroider something on them, you know, like his and hers.
Or to whom it may concern, or this end up.
Yeah.
Don't be like that.
Oh, sorry.
The only trouble is, where are we going to get the material?
Pinch it from the store. Where else?
No, not the blue. Something more neutral. I'll call you back.
Good morning. Look, don't you think it's time that we set our differences aside and...
Yes, could I have the police, please?
You listen to me for a minute. All right, so you hate my guts. Maybe you got good reason to. But surely the important thing now is Jackie.
Jackie has always been the most important thing.
All right, so we both want to see her out and free. That's what I want to talk to you about.
Okay, so talk.
I've been in touch with the prison reform group.
Oh, what the hell use can they be?
They can move public opinion. Believe me, they're very influential.
The public is not going to be influenced by a bunch of ex-con ratbags. So if that's the best you can do, forget about it. You want to influence public opinion, go to the top like I did. But that's out of your league, isn't it, Fletcher? So why don't you scurry on back to your prison reform group and get them to lobby about more meat in the prison stew? I'll get Jackie out of here without your help or your red raggers.
We could combine forces. Think what we could achieve if we worked together on this.
And let you take the credit for getting her out. Let her think what a good fellow you are. Not likely. You're the bastard who put her in there in the first place. And by the time I've finished with you, she's going to know just how big a bastard you really are. Now, are you leaving? Or shall I call the police?
Miss Bennett catches you reading that, we'll all be scrubbing floors tonight.
Well, the trick is not to get caught, isn't it? Oh, hello. They're having another go at Jackie.
What are they saying this time?
Looks like they've got a public debate going. Whole swag of letters to the editor. You know, whoever's doing this is stirring up quite a hornet's nest. You can come out in front.
I wish they'd stop interfering. I've made my decision. They should respect that.
Well, I'll tell you what, if someone was putting this effort into me, I'd be shouting it from the rooftop.
Burns, the governor wants to see you.
I'd like to make a phone call, Miss Bennett.
Later.
I'm
Don't
entitled
you
to...
ever put your hands on me again, Nolan.
Oh, come on, Miss Bennett, you've got a problem. You could take her to the phone while you're taking Doreen to the governor's office.
And don't you start telling me what to do. Unless, of course, you want to spend some more time in the pound.
What's the problem, Miss Bennett?
There's no problem.
Yes, there is, Mr. Fletcher. Miss Bennett has refused permission for me to make my phone call.
I did not refuse, Nolan. I simply said later.
It's all right, Miss Bennett. I understand. If you haven't got the time to take Nolan to the phone, I'll do it. Come on, Nolan.
Burns, move!
You are not becoming a political football darling.
Oh, come off it, Julian. I know who you've got working for you.
Correction, my dear, working for you.
Correction again, Julian. Working for themselves. I'm the one dangling on the end of the rope, and whichever way it swings, I'm the one that gets splattered against the wall. So I want this stopped now. Do you understand?
Be reasonable, Jackie. We stand every chance of getting a vice-regal pardon. That's if we can keep that bunch of radicals out of the way.
Are you referring to Judge Cawthorne and company, or what?
No, of course not.
Well, who then?
Well, you'd better ask your friend Jim Fletcher about that.
What's he got to do with it?
Oh, he's been doing his own feeble bit of interfering. But as I said, ask him.
I will. And as for your interference, Julian, I want it stopped now. Well, tell me about your group of radicals, Mr. Fletcher. Well?
Yes, well, that'd be the PRG.
The what?
The prison reform group. Mrs. Davidson and I have
She's
been
in this as well.
Look, would you calm down? We're only trying to help you, you know.
What does it take to get through to you people? I don't want your help, Mr. Fletcher, or anyone else's. So will you, for pity's sake, leave me alone?
I don't know, Mrs. Davidson. Everything I do, I seem to muck up. I mean, I've been out on parole twice and landed back in here through being stupid. I mucked up my marriage and I can't even hold a job on the outside.
Well, Doreen, you have to try.
Well, I do try, Mrs. Davidson.
Then you'll have to try harder. Work at it. With your attitude, you make yourself a loser before you get into the event. Now, there's a book in the prison library. I want you to read it.
The Power of Positive Thinking. Oh, Mrs. Davidson.
Read it, and then I want you to think about furthering your education. Well, Rose Colson was able to get her HSC, Doreen.
Yeah, but she was smart, and she had Mr. Reed to help her.
And I am more than willing to help you. Erica Davidson? Yes, Mr. Douglas. Oh, I was rather hoping you'd get something closer to the city. Yes, I quite understand. Well, Barnhurst it is then. Thank you, Ted. No, tomorrow will be fine. Goodbye. Well, that's all now, thank you, Doreen. And remember, read that book. And if you do decide to undertake a course, it can only be to your ultimate benefit.
Thanks, Mrs. Davidson.
Julie, would you prepare the necessary transferal papers for an inmate, please? Thank you.
Hey, you reckon you convinced that friend of yours to lay off?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps not. He thinks he needs me to help him with a business. And then there's all the political intrigue. Oh, maybe it's gone too far already.
Just can't stop the roller coaster, eh? Who's this other group that's campaigning for you?
Oh, them. The PRG trying to get in on the act.
Well, they're a pretty good lot to have on side.
I don't want them on side. I don't want anyone on side.
Oh, okay. Nothing to do with me if you end up in here forever.
Oh, you've been a long time. What you got there? Oh, it's a book Mrs. Davidson wants me to read.
The Power of Positive Thinking? What's it like?
No, I don't know. I can't see what the bloke's trying to get at.
Oh, look. You okay, Doreen?
Oh, yeah.
Did Davo say something to upset you?
No, it was just sort of a pep talk, you know. But while I was there, she got a phone call. Sounds to me as though someone's being transferred to Barnhurst.
Who?
I don't know. She couldn't throw me out or anything because it would have looked real funny. But she was being that cagey, I reckon it was one of our mob.
Well, that settles it then. We'll send out the invitation at the end of the week, right?
Right. And the best thing of all is that we've got Tracy. Oh, look at the time. I must go.
You know, this night shift's playing havoc with my social life.
Well, it won't be for much longer.
I'll drop you off, right?
Thanks.
Which means we don't have to rush off straight away. Right?
Yes, we do. I'll be running late, and I don't want to get the sack at this stage of the game.
I wouldn't mind. You know that, don't you?
So, no. We've already agreed. I'm staying on at Wentworth for the time being at least.
All right, you're the boss.
All right, come on.
I might drop in and see Tracy tomorrow, okay?
All right, then. I'll arrange it when I get there.
Okay. There you go.
Tracy?
What's wrong, honey?
Apparently I'm being transferred.
Transferred? Where to?
Some place called Barnhurst.
Why?
They don't like relatives in the same prison.
What relatives?
Dad's marrying Mrs. Jackson. I don't understand it. I promised I wouldn't take advantage of her. What does she want to have me transferred for?
Well, honey, maybe it's not up to her.
Well, who's it up to then?
Mrs. Davidson's the boss.
But But she knew about Dad, Mrs. Jackson, before, and she didn't have me transferred then.
Uh-huh, but they weren't getting married then.
It's not fair. Oh, anyway, it won't be for ages yet.